Hi friends, Dr. Tim here, and today we're going to talk about plagiarism and sources. This is a topic of discussion in academia, particularly today with the advent of artificial intelligence and things of that nature. So let's begin by defining plagiarism. Plagiarism is using someone else's ideas or words without giving them proper credit. Now notice in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, I cited the source, which is Purdue OWL, and I highly recommend Purdue OWL for writing tips, writing concepts in terms of MLA, APA, Turabian, etc. How to document. They have sample papers on there, sample bibliographies within each writing style. Purdue OWL is my go-to source, and I highly recommend it. You will really appreciate that if you can simply Google Purdue OWL and writing, and it'll take you to the general page, and then you can go more specific within topics. So that's whose definition we're using here. So there are different types of plagiarism. Unintentional plagiarism, again, as defined by Purdue OWL, is basically to forget a source in the bibliographic entries. The lack of intention does not give you an excuse. You must document everything and make sure you go behind yourself to do that. And then intentional plagiarism, and that's basically buying a paper online. You can use other ideas as your own. You can use artificial intelligence to write papers. That's a huge source of controversy, but I will tell you from a professor's position and looking through Canvas and Blackboard and the other tools, there are lots of artificial intelligence sources that we can use to look to figure out whether or not it was written by an AI-based paper generator. So I highly recommend that you not use that. And second of all, you're here to get an education. If you have an AI generated paper, and even if you get by with it, you're only cheating yourself. So the whole concept of using artificial intelligence to write a paper is just really not a good thing. It's not a good idea. Again, we have cited Purdue OWL for that. So, last thing I would tell you with this until we get to a little further into this outline is be sure that your online sources are legit. A lot of you guys aren't going to the traditional libraries for a variety of reasons, and I understand that, but make sure when you use online sources that they are legitimate, they were factual, right? Ronald Reagan said, trust but verify. Verify that these sources are accurate, that they're consistent. And Abraham Lincoln said, not everything you read on the internet is true. Now, obviously, Abraham Lincoln didn't say that, but you can find a quote like that or something that outlandish on the internet. So you have to be very, very careful. So next, let's look at this. The sources. Typically, the more varied sources you have, the stronger your research and your argument. Now, you don't want multiple sources that say the exact same thing at some level. I mean, yeah, it does strengthen your argument when you have multiple sources saying the same thing, but at some level, okay, 3 people have said it, you don't need 10 people. The 3 people are just as strong as the 10. But having varied sources really help you. So, citations, how often? My rule is every paragraph. Every paragraph should have a source unless it is an original idea of yours. For example, when I was writing my doctoral dissertation, I was writing original material, and I came up with a term in German because we were dealing with the music of Johann Sebastian Bach, and I came up with this German term. It was my original idea, so I did not have something specific to cite for that idea because it was original to me. Most of you will not be doing that type of research, so therefore every paragraph should have a citation. Now, as a professor, I will tell you this. I would rather you have more citations than needed than not enough. So that's my general rule. Every professor is a little different, but I think that's probably a pretty good generic rule. Now, for quotes, your citation should be immediately at the end of the sentence where the quote is found. Immediately at the end of the sentence where the quote is found. Okay? So next, we'll say this. Another place to have citations is at the end of the paragraph. So if it's not a quote, if it's just a concept or idea, it should be at the end of the paragraph. Or, now this is the huge one, if you change sources. So let's say you've got 4 sentences in a paragraph. The first 2 sentences are from source 1. And in the third sentence you change and you go to source 2. Then after the second sentence, because the first 2 sentences are from source 1, you should cite source 1. And if the third and fourth sentences are from source 2, you cite source 2 at the end. Again, the exception being if there is a quotation. So how do we define common knowledge? The sky is blue. The sun rises every day. The moon is on a monthly or 28-day or so cycle. That's pretty common knowledge. Most of us are doing research in areas in which we're not experts. So that's a fine line, and that fine line will be defined by your professor. Again, I think it's better to cite more than needed than citing less than needed. However, some people will take that to the extreme, and we certainly do not need that. So, what is common knowledge? That's defined by your professor. It's defined by common sense. If you're not sure if it's common knowledge, go ask somebody. Hey, did you know the sky's blue? Again, that's a silly example, but it's a good filter to figure out what common knowledge is. If you have original ideas, then it's good to not necessarily have a source. When I was writing my doctoral dissertation, I made some observations in the music of Johann Sebastian Bach, and I came up with a term for the observations in German. And that was my original idea. I had nothing to specifically document outside of the specific examples within the score, but I certainly can't document my own idea. So because it was original, then I didn't have to document it. Opinion papers, when you are stating your opinion. So this is a specific assignment. It's not a research paper. Remember, research papers are not opinion papers. They need to be scientific. They need to be fact-based. So if you're writing an opinion paper, your professor's asking what you think about something, and you can use first person, etc., then go ahead. Good luck to you. And you do not necessarily have to document it unless you're using someone else's ideas to support your opinion. And then you would want to document. So I hope you find this helpful in terms of plagiarism and citing and when to cite and things of that nature. Take care. Have a great day.